Huh. Funny thing about that tooltip is that I actually was doing that off screen after I annihilated that incredibly massive Chit-Tech armada that I think I added to the end of the last video. What a fun fight! What a fun fight! The difficult things for combat are going to be an incredible amount of good ships that we have to destroy, well put together ships that can take a pounding and dish it out, or an incredible amount of really cheap ships that don't do much damage, but there's so freaking many of them that I'm overwhelmed by the amount of firepower thrown my way. That's what the Chit-Tech did. Almost lost the ship. That was great. That was great. I don't ever remember seeing Chit-Tech carriers in the past. So I'm wondering if the increased difficulty does indeed add new ships to the mechs. Interesting. In any case, hello there everyone. Welcome back to some more Let's Play Starcom Nexus. In the last video, we began exploring a different section of our galaxy map. We went down here, exploring these two orange-made sequences from this location. We piloted on out here. And then we went south to grab this warp nexus and explored a few other places around here. We found some interesting graffiti, which we can apparently investigate again, but have not done so quite yet. We took a peek as well as into this blue star to see if this might have been the world that was hinted at by the sunken ship quest log, and it wasn't. It's got a desert planet, but it's a little too big for what a desert planet should be. No gas worlds out here either. We also found a derelict, and we couldn't destroy anything that was on it, since our Thunderbird didn't have any plasma turrets on it. So we had to leave it there. We explored this area. We found the Chit-Tech out here. We eliminated their armada, which was sitting out here, and we got the last piece of the drone technology we needed. We came back over here for some reason. Oh, right, we came back over here to take one of these warp nexuses, went back to base, and built ourselves some drones. And now, I am experimenting with the drones on the ship to see how much I like a new vessel. And I love this vessel. This is amazing. This is an upgraded version of one of my old ship designs, where I didn't have any shields on this vessel. And as you saw in the last episode, perhaps at the end of it, it does really well. We have 6, I think, lasers on the vessel. Yep, I can see them right here. They're these dark circles. So one more laser than our Thunderhawk had. We actually have some plasma turrets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 plasma turrets on it. So we can actually destroy scrap if we see it lying around. 3 shields, 1 less than the Thunderhawk, no missile launchers, and 3 drone bays, which you'll see us use when we encounter something else hostile. Anyway, it's working out, I think, and I'm pretty happy with it. Off screen. Oh, and by the way, there was nothing special in the derelict. There's nothing special in the derelict. Although there was adamantine, platinum, and neutronium from the scrap. So I totally stopped and destroyed every single bit of it that I could. I then came back over here because I noticed on our quest log this, which we got an age ago, the crashed surveyor map. This image we covered from the crashed escape pod. It doesn't seem to line up with the sensors on our map. Strange. I don't believe I ever discovered this location in the last playthrough. I didn't play through this another time. When I was playing this game way back in the early summer, after I'd beaten it back then, I never found this location. And this map has a gigantic hint as to what this is pointing out. These are stars, and notice this purple here. Is a purple nebula and 2 orange stars kind of close together. There's a purple nebula and 2 orange stars close together. So the map does align with our own, but it's been pivoted. about 180 degrees or so, or 90 degrees. And I believe we will likely find something out here. As you can see, I looked at the map, measured the coordinates, and I think there's something special down here. So we're going to go down here and take a peek and see if there's anything new that can be discovered. I don't remember the crashed ship, so we'll probably want to read the log that we picked up before we head down to the planet, which it was hinting was in this area. Or a star, at least. There's a star in this area somewhere, I think. I might be wrong. I don't think I'm wrong. So we'll find out together. I'm super excited to actually find something new, as it were. Or solve a puzzle. Solve a puzzle that this game has presented that I didn't solve last time. They'll talk a little bit about the ship a little more, and then we'll go ahead and, I guess, continue to explore more of the... I'm going to call it the southwestern section of the map. There are some things out here. A brown star, a dwarf probably star, and we've got 2 sand worlds out here. Well, we'll hit the star first because it's closest to us. This planet, this desert planet, and hopefully we find something interesting out here. Shields activate as we approach the sun. Alright, nothing special on the sun. There's another planet out here too, a planetoid of some sort. I don't know if this is a desert planet. Looks like it from out here. Might just be rock, though. No anomalies detected. So, is it just me, or does this vessel look a little bit like a guy with a shield and a spear, is what it looks like to me. Here's his spear. He's holding up. Or like a lance or something. And this is the shield he's got in his other hand. So I named it the Phalanx, and I'm pretty happy with it. I really like designing new ships. I do like designing ships which are symmetrical, but I have a lot more fun running ships which are not symmetrical. The original Guardian class ship that I made, which this is based on, didn't have shields at first, so this side was designed to take hits and face the enemy, while the other side was designed to add support. But I think the shields are just so useful. I'm glad to add them to this vessel. Nothing on this desert planet, so there must be something special at this place, or something else here that we can find close by. Nothing else on the map. And I was off by 1 quadrant, apparently. If we get technology from this, we're going to double back to Kite Station and spend it in another upgrade for our energy cells. Because this ship is extremely energy hungry. When we're firing 6 lasers and the plasma turrets at the same time, we'll burn through all this energy very quickly. And Gotcha! Nice! Micro wormhole. This probe seems to have passed through a micro wormhole at some point, too small for most ships. Its data reveals new insights into the space-time manifolds. Hey, great! I love those space-time manifolds. I think... Is that real? It sounds like space magic to me. But I'm glad we got some more research on it. 220 points, too. Alright, so before we head down here, I'm assuming this is something special down here? There is, okay. Let's look up the crashed surveyor. This is what we discovered an age ago. A survey ship crashed here, probably centuries ago. The wreck has been picked clean of valuable equipment, but the team detected a second smaller anomaly a few hundred meters away. It looks like an escape pod that jettisoned too late for the chutes to work. Inside are the decayed remains of 3 bipedal aliens in flight suits. One of them has what looks like a personal recorder transmitter with some data intact. Finish the survey of that brown dwarf system. There's a Progent primer on one of its outer planetoids. The scientists think they figured out that the unlock code. They need to coat the surface with neutronium and send in an oscillating magnet field through. No idea why, but that's the Progents for you. We don't have the neutronium on board for it, so we're heading back to the supply depot. I captured an image of the ship's nav view when we left. Sorry about the quality. I was strapped down for high-G departure. I'm going to tinker with our drive to slow us down. That should give us enough time to get there well before us. That should give you enough time to get there well before us. Do this right, but you'll be set for life. The recorder had one image in its memory. Okay. So we need neutronium and an oscillating magnet field. Oh, that's interesting. It's a barren rock with no atmosphere, it looks like to me. But there's some sort of crystal pyramid here. Almost that's like a shield that's like wobbling and warping and reflecting the things around it. From orbit, the anomaly was detected in a low, shallow crater right on the planetoid's equator. In an excavated hole, the team discovers a tetrahedral pyramid made of an unknown, perfectly polished metal? Is approximately 5 meters in height. Scans failed to reveal what, if anything, is inside. Use neutronium and magnetic field as described in crash log. Interesting. We could totally have found this by accident. It just occurs to me when I went down south exploring, looking for the Dyson sphere. And if I had, I would have actually gone... Well, actually, we had this... We had the information about this from a long time ago. But if we hadn't found that crashed ship, you would still be allowed to attempt to force the object open. But I wonder what would happen if you do that. There's no reason for us to do that, so let's use the neutronium. The neutronium coating dissolves along with the mysterious metal pyramid, revealing a collection of well-preserved circuits etched into adamantine. Plus 25 adamantine, plus 250 research points. Very good. Wow, this was really worth it. Holy crap. Okay, let's head over here and take this warp nexus back to Kite Station. Alright guys, what can we talk about today? I don't have my notes in front of me today, and I'm not feeling the best today. There's like a cold going around. There's actually the flu going around. There's a rotavirus going around, and COVID's still out there. But this doesn't feel bad enough to be any of the big things. So I'm hoping it's not. But, oh, I'm tired. I'm tired and I'm a little achy. So, but I still gotta entertain us. So what can we talk about today? Alright, I have a new topic to... Actually, let's talk a bit about some of what I talked about in the last episode after all. I meant to write down some notes about Darkest Dungeon, because I want to talk about that for a bit more. Because it occurred to me that I was kind of dismissive of the game in the end, but I feel like I want to make a few points about games when I am a bit negative on them. Because we all have different tastes in games. We all like... Well, actually, some of us have very similar tastes in games, but some people have different tastes in games. So some people like things other people dislike. Some people dislike things other people like. Different people have different reasons why they might dislike something compared to others. Maybe it's not even gameplay related. But in any case, I want to talk a little bit about some of the things I appreciate, no matter the game that I'm playing, and no matter if I like it or not. I'm a computer programmer, and it can take a lot of time and effort to make even a simple program work as expected. I work with very old systems, which are a bit archaic and difficult to understand. And I'm a networking guy. I wrote a bit of network code, tunnelers, sniffers, and packet translators to talk between systems, in addition to doing a brief amount of GUI related stuff. None of my stuff is video game related. In any case, I don't want to be too dismissive of games that I myself don't like, unless they're an obvious asset flip. I tend to at least like some aspect of the game. And actually, when it comes to asset flip games, I think I've only ever bought one. I didn't realize it at the time until I fired up and realized, oh, like, I can appreciate what this guy was attempting to do. We don't need to kill a single Chitek. Or its friend. What are they fighting? It doesn't matter. Let's go back home. So I want to talk a little bit about that, but we'll do so as we are going from place to place out in the void. But I suppose I'll quickly say before we get to that part that I do appreciate the amount of work put into games that even games I don't like Darkest Dungeon. where they really tried to make a phenomenal game, and they succeeded in that regard, I suppose. I'm the one who has the opinion that the base game isn't all that great, but they have a really unique. They got the theme perfect. The gameplay was not in any other game for what they were trying, and I liked the management of it all, trying to maintain your numbers. The game also is fun because things can go south extraordinarily quickly in the game. A single crit could end up downing you. So that same single crits can also help save your butt. So it's rather interesting, the balanced choices that they made, and I can respect them for that, even if it's not a game for me. We're back here for research purposes. 503. That should be enough for us to get. That should be enough for us to get the. More energy upgrades. I can't believe we only have 2 energy upgrades. So we'll get energy compressor. Further increases our reactor's storage capacity. So. A criticism I have of this game is that it doesn't actually tell me what percentages are. So right now, our energy reserves are 225. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I have... No, is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7... Yeah, 10. So that's about 225 energy per cell. Is what I'm seeing here. And even then, this is still not enough. This is not enough. And yes, you guys might have seen. The only issue I have with this ship is one particular thing, and that's this. This energy cell means that this engine doesn't have an armor module attached to it. So I'm super aware of that. Actually, we can do this, Tim. You can do that and put the engine here. And then you can actually do this. Actually, we can move that engine here. And we can move the other energy reactor. There. I like this look better. And actually, every single space around the plasma turrets increases the plasma turret's efficiency. Oh, I see why we want to do that, though. If I want this... Okay. Crap! I'm doing it again. I'm doing ship design on screen. If I add you there... I really want that other reactor. How much does a plasma turret's DPS suffer? Only 7. Okay, that'll be fine. Okay, good. Alright, so back to research. Let's take that other energy upgrade, and we will see how much we get. $325. So... That's... We had 2,000. I guess each edge reactor was giving us 200. And then we had an extra 225. If I take off one of these... Okay, about 300 now. Okay, so we gained an extra 100 energy reserve per energy reactor. So we'll be able to fire for like a few more seconds. I think that's a good upgrade. Although now the ship is quite a bit more bulky. That single actual reactor makes this entire section feel more... less spear-like now, to me. But I still think the ship looks good. This is acceptable. Alright, so let's... where are we going today? So we're going to go down here. And we're going to travel... Actually, we should take the wormhole, because that, wherever these things are called, because that will probably take us to that area. So let's do that. Okay, I'm still losing energy, boosting and firing the plasma turrets at the same time. Okay, down we go. there are Arona strikers down here. That's the fractal graffiti. We don't have to go back to that planet. Oh. Don't bump into you and start a war, which we did with the Vendari. I like having every single armor module touching, every single module touching an armor module, since it gains the armor bonus from the armor module itself, which is why you see me doing that. I was super conscious that this one engine was unprotected, and while I was fighting it kept being set on fire, which slows me down. Not much, but still enough to be annoying to me, knowing that there's a fault on the ship. Oh! This is it! Holy crap! Blue main sequence. Small barren world. Small desert world. Large gas giant. Small water world. So we'll hit this last, because according to the sunken ship, well, it says desert and barren, so maybe this isn't actually accurate, because I see 2 deserts here. So maybe this isn't what we want after all. I thought it was, but it's not. Darn it! Or maybe I'm wrong, or the picture is incorrect. It's practically it, but I guess it's not going to be it. We'll still hit this one last and double check. And there's some sort of wreckage out here, so we'll investigate that too. Let's hit up all the planets. We'll talk about random crap, I guess a little later. We will want to visit the sun, just to make sure there's nothing special about it. Nothing special about that wasteland of that planet. Nothing on the sun either. And the water world? Something on it, or an ice planet in this instance. Let's see what's on it. Good luck, guys. The surveyor lander touches down in whiteout conditions. Attempting to pot the lander any closer to the detective anomaly would be suicide. It's not worth sending a team into those conditions. Abort the survey. Forget it. Whatever's down here can stay down here. We're not going down in the blizzard, and we can't wait it out either. You can't go back there later to investigate. It's just something we just won't get, whatever it is. Might have been really worth it. I don't remember. It's now been half a year since I beat the game, just about, if I recall correctly. So, I have a bad memory of what each individual location contains, with a handful of exceptions for the ones which were like puzzles. Arona strikers. I'm very glad that we made peace with the Aronas, as it makes traveling in these areas much easier for us. That is totally the look of the planet. That is it. That is absolutely it. It is... No! No! It got away. It got away. This is it. This is such a colorful world. It looks exactly like what's described. And it's brown here, but it was desert earlier. But now it's brown on this screen, but not the tooltip on the edge of the screen was actually sandy. So this is what we're here for with the sucking ship. This is it after all. Down we go. Whatever this is, we are going to get it. This was a puzzle. We want this. This is supposedly tougher to get. The team is able to find the precise location from the reconstructed holographic image. While nothing is immediately visible, deep sonar shows a density spike in the bedrock. The team begins excavating. About 10 meters down, they uncover a metal hatch. Investigate. The hatch opens to a set of rungs embedded in the rock, which descend another 20 meters before opening up into a kind of laboratory, roughly carved into the natural rock. Cut into the walls are dozens of cages covered with ventilated transluminium. Built into one wall is a neutronium safe. Off the main lab are some living quarters. Investigate the living quarters first. There are several beds, including one that contains the skeletal remains of a human. By its side is an old-fashioned journal. It's mostly filled with a cryptic shorthand that even the universal translator can completely decipher, save for a few fragments. Fragment 1. Numerous coded references to what the xenobiologist recognizes as DNA sequences. Fragment 2. Several pages of different versions of a logarithmic calculation, the conclusion of which is 50 through 75 gen to sentence with sequence 8H. Fragment 3. Via Can, most promising of latest round, plan their launch tomorrow. AA, also good, but will need more time to reach potential. Fragment 4. Last launch is away. Tonight I sleep and dream of my reward. Oh, 50 through 75 gen to sentence with sequence 8H. I wonder if this is phage related. I think everything is phage related. But maybe this is it. Maybe this was where they created the phage. I don't remember. It's been a long time since we fought phage off. Have the team investigate the cages. Actually, let's get the safe next. Have the team cut open the safe. Inside the safe are a large number of vials whose contents seem to have evaporated long ago. There's also a data crystal. The crystal has a collection of Starcom technical data. Analysis confirmed. It's another one of the key filter algorithms. That's a total of 5. Have the team investigate the cages. Many of the cages are full of dirt, debris, and crumbling bones. The xenobiologist can't identify any specific species, but notes that they share more characteristics with Earth animals than is typical of extraterrestrials. Return to the ship. Let's pay a visit to whatever this derelict is next. Yeah, the artwork in games takes effort to make. The modeling requires work. Sound effects. So I guess we'll be a little... Oh, what the heck is this? We're encountering a strong localized dark energy flow. This is an entirely new phenomenon. Can we go into it? Oh, it pushes us away like a magnet. You know? I wonder. So we're not allowed in there. We can't get in there. But I bet you we could if we had the warp hopper. Because that would teleport us to that via a short jump. So we'll have to come back here if we want to check for sure. So specifically, the sound effects in Darkest Dungeon were incredibly well done. They got it right with the hissing that happens, the sound effects of the creatures doing damage and critting, and the extra roar they do. I don't remember your characters ever making an exclamation when they were hit. Only the enemies, for that matter, now that I think about it. Oh, there's lots of other stars down here. Well, actually, there isn't lots, but there's some more, so... Let's stick with the warp portals and jump around using them for a bit. And I liked it. The music is phenomenal for Darkest Dungeon 2. They really did a great job. The narrator's voice is fantastic also. I really like those little quips that he gives. Good job there too. I like the theme of going to these places to clear them out of the hostiles, and the bosses are, for the most part, well done as well. Although there's... I really, really dislike the Prophet fight. But the other ones I thought were good. Yeah, I liked how different some of them felt. Some of them are more attrition-based, for example. The Cannon or the Necromancer. I thought those were good. Really, really good. So they did a good job on them. The creatures feel unique. I like the bandits in particular, because I hate them. They were the source of many of my early deaths in the game. Hello, Arona Fleet. Good to see you guys. Let's talk with you. Rising Thermals, Jared Hiltman. How may we be of assistance? That's all for now. Remember that the Aronas cannot trade with us. We must go to their homeworld if we want to trade. Graphically, the game is amazing also. The art is great. I like the characters moving around. How very little on their equipment moves as they move up and down for the fighting. I like that too. Nothing on this barren world. So I guess I'm doing a mini review on Darkest Dungeon. I felt... So... The gameplay, though, while it's fun, it's grindy. In the beta that I was a part of, because I was a backer of it on Kickstarter, they made it extraordinarily grindy. It would take, I think, like 800 or 1,000 something deeds to fully upgrade the blacksmith, for example. And you were just endlessly visiting the Weald, because that was the only place you could get them in the beta. It was awful. It was awful. Just as the game released, they changed the numbers of what you required to be leveled up. But I liked my numbers better. I'll talk about Lum in the future, what I modded for the game. Don't look up Lum. It doesn't work with Darkest Dungeon any longer. I'd have to sit down and spend like a month fixing it to make it work. Maybe I will do that in the end. Hey, something on this planet. Let's see what's down there. Is that a city in the clouds? As the survey lander descends through the upper atmosphere, several ceremonial gliders rise and escort it down to a landing pad atop a high mountain. Once the team lands, they are informed that this gleaming city is the Aronian provisional capital, and they are guests of honor. The feast begins at dawn and lasts until sundown. As they sample the many interesting Aronian cuisines, a flying parade weaves through the Golden Towers. Oh, that's amazing. Good for us. They are so happy that we made contact with their actual planet and let them know that they're still alive. And the opposite is true as well, that their home planet was surprised that there were any survivors thanks to the phage. And we also eliminated the phage. Maybe they'll actually talk to us about the phage here. While Starcom regulations prohibit you as a commander from landing, the rest of Final Hope's crew are able to visit in turns for a much-needed shore leave. It is, for a time, all anyone aboard seems to be able to talk about. That's wonderful. And as a commander and someone who is incredibly super introverted and doesn't like going to any party for any reason whatsoever, this would be perfectly fine with me. I would be more than glad to listen to the stories of these people without ever going down there to see the Aronas. As a culmination of festivities, a Neutronian replica of the Final Hope is unveiled. The team engineer informs you that the design is even more beautiful in person, both sublime and informative, suggesting some possible improvements to modular configuration, plus 25 research points. The governor informs the team that she has personally contacted Kite Station for guidance on the extra commemoration of the elimination of the phage menace. The team is led to the Capitol Plaza. In the center stands a gleaming statue in solid gold, with adamantine trim of a Starcom officer gazing at the horizon. Despite the minimalist style, it is obviously patterned after Dr. Pillman. Yeah, he, as arrogant as Pillman is, he was the one that came up with the cure to get rid of the phage, and knew it was a threat to everything. This will do nothing to stop his ego from rising even further. But he was worth it. I thought that planet was actually down here somewhere in the Arona territory. And not up... Well, actually, I guess this is Arona territory in a way. Anyway. Let us go. And see what this planet is. Since we're out here, we'll take a swing around out here as well. And see if we can find that research station that the Saurids have out here. and complete yet another mini-quest. What else did I like about Darkest Dungeon? I was beginning to talk about the things I dislike, but we'll save that for the future. The specifics. I liked the idea of the people going insane, but I've always felt I felt gameplay-wise, it was a missed opportunity, is what I'll say. I'm not gonna be able to hold you. I turned around the wrong way. If I turned around the other way, we probably would have gotten it. Alright, hold on. Let's see what this gas planet has. I love the purple colors on these planets. Some of them. Okay, nothing here. So let's go out to where they said this thing was, roughly. And we'll have to scan around to see if we can find it, because it's not likely to be in the same location. Actually, I highly doubt it is. So I was greatly confused when I first did this particular quest, because it wasn't at the area. And it was only later that I realized that it probably drifted a bit. Or they said it was around this area, in the proximity of this. It requires some work to actually find it. And we flew right past it, so let's, oh, right, and we have to be somewhat close to it for it to show up on our scanners as well, if I recall correctly. So we'll take a peek. We'll do something like this. And see if we see it. And we'll talk about Darkest Dungeon for a little bit while we're doing this. Hopefully it shows up on our map here, because I'm going to be looking at this, not this screen. So, I liked the final dungeon and the horrific looking monsters in there too. As I mentioned, I thought the monsters looked fantastic. The art is good. The music is, once again, art is great. Music is great. Sound effects are good. I liked the maintenance aspect of the game, with you having to save and acquire different resources and try to bring back different things. I liked the interactions with the different curios in the game too. Although I didn't like that there were set rewards when interacting with a curio with certain items from your inventory. I wanted to find a way to make it randomized so that you weren't guaranteed to get specific things, but I couldn't find a way to do it in the JSON files when I was working on the code, unfortunately. What else is there? The rest of the stuff is stuff that I wasn't a big fan of. So I guess we'll start talking about it in particular. So you guys get an understanding about what it is about Darkest Dungeon. I guess, I don't know why I'm obsessing about this. I think it's because I'm aware Darkest Dungeon is a well-beloved game. And like any well-beloved game, I probably have a few of you who are watching this who like the game. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's a great game. I hope you guys like it. But I myself was not a fan of the unmodded version of it. So let's get into that part now. They realized people were playing their game a particular way because you can't heal outside of combat. And so they added mechanics in to try to guess when you're delaying combat and punish you for it. But I've had that logic activate incorrectly on my group, and they can't seem to perfect it. They've began adding mechanics into the game to address other mechanics that they added into the game, for example, to try to punish players that they feel that they don't want playing their game a particular way. And I don't know if I agree with that. They punish people for trying to heal, to keep their people alive. So I had, for example, as you could feed your people by consuming food to heal hit points. But then they made it so that your characters get full, and you can't do that. But then a hallway later, your people will suddenly be all hungry and be forced to eat again, thanks to how the random food checks work. So it's a bit... It's a bit hypocritical, some of what they have in the game. Back in the beta, they added a large amount of protection from certain creatures. Maggots had 80% or like 90% protection. They can still stun you. They give you stress and they disease you. You would be forced to spend an entire round fighting nothing but. If you fought 4 maggots, you were in that combat for at least 4 rounds, even if you took people who could bleed them. it still took forever to chew through the little hit points they had. And I remember hating it. Like, I felt that they didn't understand the game that they were making and what made it good. I felt, were turning their game into a very grindy game. One that you would be forced to play for more hours than you would like. And they were changing the creatures so that you would be forced into an attrition battle with many groups of them, because it was the only way I think they could figure out how to apply stress to you. Because if you killed the stress dealers quickly, there would be no stress that you would suffer. So they began trying to punish you that way. Anyway, many of the skills, I'd say every character had like one skill that wasn't useful compared to others, and some perks were far more useful than quirks were far more useful than others as well. I didn't like the balance in the game. I felt that once again I don't know why they couldn't see that some of these skills were just not very good. They eventually would change a handful of them, but some are still not very good in the game at this moment. And this is coming from someone. I have got 638 hours in the game, so it's a game I've played the heck out of. But probably close to 450 of those hours were spent with my modified game and not the base game. Okay, I can't find this station, so it was at 45? 4517. Yeah, it was supposed to be here and I don't see it. So let's head out a little further out to the east and see if it's out here. I have several playlists of the game on my channel where you can see me playing the beta and me realizing that I don't like at all the things that they're doing to it, and then learning how to mod the game and then going through and modding it. You can see the protection get added as the beta went along and how it impacts the game, and you're just forced to sit and take big hits now from enemies, or take certain skills. Like, you're forced to use stun to deal with creatures and so on. I don't know. And healing is very important in the game, since you can't heal very often otherwise, and you're relying on RNG to be merciful to you, which is not something you can actually probably do very often in this game. So let's get into well, the specifics. We've been getting into the specifics already. What in particular set you, like, do you really dislike about the game? For the most part, it's just balance. Knowing that there's skills in the base game that I would never take or ever use. Even after they've tweaked and changed some altogether, I still like my version of it better. Like giving the leper a guard ability where he counterattacks when struck. I liked doing that for him. I felt it made him a little more useful as a guard and a frontline tank. In the base game, they gave him the ability to purge corpses, which, okay, I don't really see that as being very useful, because you can just chew through corpses quickly with your front line anyway, for example. I can't find this station out here. This is going to be just like the last time I was out here, and I couldn't figure out where it was located. So, what do I want to do? I don't want to keep talking about Darkest Dungeon for too much longer, and that means I also don't want to be out here. So, let's head up to this sun, and I'll off-screen finding the location. Yeah, let's do that. Let's go here. I bet you this warp leads to this location too, but we'll take the scenic route. I felt that in the base Darkest Dungeon, you acquire... Oh, these are two other things. You acquire stress in big bursts. I wanted it to be more of a creeping threat that you had to worry about. So I made it so that every single creature had a chance to apply a small amount of stress to your group. And at the end of an adventure in Lum, you tended to gain about 30 more total stress over your group than in the base game. And I liked it, because it didn't matter if you killed the stress... It did matter, actually, if you killed the stress dealers first, because that was most of the stress. Big stress amounts you would get rid of, but you still get a little bit of it creeping up on you from time to time, and I really like that. I felt that the insanity mechanic... I really hated what they did. I dislike the heart attack mechanic because I feel it's lazy. The penalty for getting your stress up to 200 is that your character has a heart attack and gets reduced to no hit point. That's really effing lazy. I hate it. I hate that. Just don't do that. Just take away the player's ability to control their characters altogether. I thought that was fine. This planet and the others in this system show evidence of having been hit with a massive flux of gamma rays several thousand years ago. I felt it was a missed opportunity to make like Darkest Dungeon an auto-battler, I felt, where positive quirks took over and had your characters automatically do things, and negative quirks did the same thing. But instead, they just punish you by having your character lose massive amounts of hit points, in addition to the characters taking away your ability to control them. So I've never liked the heart attack mechanic. I play with it on when I'm playing with Lum, because I feel like if I turn it off, I would be accused that I'm making the game easier, and I am in a way, but I feel that mechanic is just, God, I hate it so much. It's not because it makes the game difficult, although it does. I hate it because there was so many other things they could have done, and they didn't do those things. I felt that taking away your character's ability to control themselves is a better way to get your group killed. I also feel that there's way too much stress given to your characters when someone goes insane. When the others pipe up more often, I really didn't like it at all. Because you lose stress very quickly. There's no reason why you should keep your group in the dungeon when anyone goes insane at 100 stress. No reason. Just take him out at that point. You're gonna really regret sticking it out unless there's one room left for you to clear. The planets in this system show evidence of having been hit with high-energy photons between 4,000 and 10,000 years ago. Chemical analysis of the crust and mantle of this one revealed that the burst was unidirectional and short. The most likely culprit is an extremely rare ultra-long gamma-ray burst event. According to the team's archaeologist, this planet was probably temperate with water, but mercifully doesn't find any evidence of a civilization. Let's visit this planet as well. And actually, there is no warp node here. So no. So this does not lead up to that warp, the wormhole, whatever it's called. What else is there? Really, that it boils down to balance issues, grindy gameplay, and my hatred of the laziness of the insane mechanic. And it's funny, because those things mean more to me than anything else about the game, what I view as positive things about it. And it was enough for me to sit down and mod the game significantly. Is it significantly right? No, probably not. Mod the game to be different. What I find funny is that, and I'm not saying it's ever the case that this happened, but I would make changes and playtest them, and I was playtesting mod on YouTube, and in the end, the Darkest Dungeon game became much more similar to my game. For example, my modded game, I added debuffs to the various target skills, which were not there originally, because I wanted the users to feel that there was more of a reason to target something beyond just doing extra damage to it via some certain abilities. So I added debuffs that would rob armor, rob away their dodge, and take away their crit, for example. The Darkest Dungeon guys did the same thing. a few months after I had done it. I changed the crit rates of the creatures and reduced armor to certain levels. I reduced the amount of heirlooms required. Darkest Dungeon guys did the same, almost to my numbers, in fact. When the Crystal DLC came out, Darkest Dungeon guys added like 8% crit or some incredible amount of crit to all the heroes. I lowered it on my version of the game down to only 1 or 2% increases for the heroes. Darkest Dungeon guys did the same thing. It's interesting to me that I can tell immediately what the game wants, but they have to spend more time to figure it out. Oh, this was the wrong wormhole. No problem. Let's go right back through it. Anyway, I wish Red Hook all the best. I guess there's another thing about Darkest Dungeon. So, yeah, this is, I mean, there's no way for me to say it other than this. I do this because I don't like the Epic stores just, having their exclusivity deals. I can't blame the Epic Store for doing it because they want to play on an equal leveling field as the other digital distribution centers. But if a game company takes the deal and releases the game on the Epic Store as an exclusive... Oh, we're actually done out here. I tend, in the vast majority of instances, which is to say all of them so far, I don't buy the game that was made an exclusive deal. And the company goes onto a list of mine where I'm like, don't buy their game, any of their future games. Check out if the game was released on Epic as an exclusive, and if it was, skip it. There's been quite a few disappointments in this regard, because there's quite a few games I would normally have loved to have played, but I won't. I don't fault the company for grabbing money, and I don't fault anyone else for buying the games. You can look at it, most of the time, the exclusivity deals are done when the game's in early access, or beta, as opposed to finally being released. Darkest Dungeon 2 is one such game that was released on the Epic Store during its early access, and I think is still in it. But what I can't effing stand is it being then advertised on Steam to go to the Epic Store. Why are you doing that? The Steam users are different than Epic game. Well, actually, are they different? I'm not quite sure. I don't like it very much, and I'm not going to buy their game because of that attitude of theirs. They're taking the money for an exclusivity deal and then trying to advertise their game up on Steam instead to drum up support for it there. Why not just release it there too? You get more people who don't like the Epic Store playing it. But I had made up my mind earlier to not play Darkest Dungeon 2, and I have no desire whatsoever to play through it. Where are we going now, Tim? We explored everything down here that we can. I think we'll need to make the warp hopper. That's going to require 250 research points, which we did pick up, but I'd rather not do that. Let's instead... go to a different location. And let's immediately start with the derelict up here. I have... Oh! It's another one of the Lobster's ships. Let's send it over to the Lobster's planet. This is another transport ship of the same design previously encountered. The drive engines are cold, but there are faint energy readings from within. Send a survey team to investigate. It is yet another Lobster's colony ship crippled by the same numeric overflow bug. The team engineer takes opportunity to lecture the rest of the team on the importance of rigorous systems testing procedures. Again, the systems could be repaired with 30 Chirolite or dismantled for salvage. Repair the reactor. After a few hours' work, the team engineer is able to get the reactor back up to 90% of peak output. She also implements a patch for the navigation code, which she's almost positive will prevent the software crash from recurring. With fingers crossed, the team returns to Final Hope. Okay, we'll check these plants, and then it feels like we played for an hour, so I guess we'll be stopping soon. Let's do two more sectors. Oh, there's an unknown outpost down here too, which is neutral to us. Let's see what that could be. There's also something on the surface of this planet. Let's check that first. Oh, I love the look at this. This looks like a park near me, in a way. Though we don't have this giant boulder there, but we've got this winding river that goes through a bunch of reeds. It looks very beautiful. Near the bank of a muddy delta, the team spots a detected anomaly, a large chunk of ancient meteorite. Scanners show moderate amounts of neutronium. There is no obvious impact crater in the immediate vicinity. As the team approaches, a large group of amphibious creatures begins to surround the rock. They seem both fearful of the team and protective of the meteorite. Based on their behavior and lack of tools, the team's xenobiologist determines they probably have the intelligence level roughly equivalent of Earth dogs, and do not match Starcom's definition of sentient race. It seems important to the creatures. We can find neutronium elsewhere. I think I did the same thing the last time I was on that planet too. At this point in the game, we don't really need neutronium at this moment, and we can get it by just destroying certain derelict scrap, or picking fights with the Vendari, or more Sentinels. Welcome, traveler, to the Guild of Zor. Private sellers use our services to find buyers for artifacts too rare to be found in any other market. We make no guarantees as to the value or safety of these goods, and all sales are final. We expect only serious inquiries on our items. For that reason, we impose a nominal fee of 5 adamantine to view the current lots. Maybe another time. We do not have adamantine lying around, and I think all purchases require adamantine. So we will come back here later. I wonder if we could actually destroy the outpost. Not that I'm going to. I guess we can target it, so I guess we can. I see shields on it, so that's interesting. Wonder if you can actually threaten it and attack it to get everything in there without paying the adamantine. Nothing on that small planetoid. And the sun. Nothing on the sun either. So, some people view the Epic Games Store as the place games go to be beta tested, and when they show up on Steam, you have a much better game than was ever available on the Epic Games Store. I like that train of thought. Just wait. There's no reason for you to buy the games immediately on the Epic Store when they come out. On that note, just in general, I never buy early access games any longer for that reason too. Unknown Space is the sequel to this game, and I won't buy it in early access. It's not that I have no interest in playing it. I definitely do if it's like this game. It's not that I have no interest in potential. I would normally, or maybe normally's the wrong word. I could think about purchasing the game in early access, but I try to avoid doing so. Some early access games were never completed. Some early access games I regret playing in early access because I didn't like the mechanics in the game at that point, and it set me off to play the game later. It's one of the reasons why in Darkest Dungeon I kind of regret playing the beta in that game, because it felt unfinished almost for the entire length of time I played it. Although I liked the theme of it very much, and the art and the direction they went in early on. Later on I felt that they were ruining their game. So I don't think it's wise to play games in early access. There are thousands upon thousands of games out there which are out of early access and are phenomenal, like this one. Play a different game and wait for the early access games to be finished. Unless, I suppose, their early access game won't be complete without money, in which case I'd be hesitant and then as well, because if that money is supposed to keep the game developer going, it's going to be rough, because they might not have enough money to finish it anyway, even with a handful or many people purchasing the game out in early access. Though it is encouraging to the developer to see people so interested to purchase it then. Scattered over a wide area of this rocky, dead world are a number of large artifacts. Both seem to be broken fragments, inert and inscrutable on their own. One still seems functional. As the team approaches, it emits a warm glow. It has no obvious controls, save for 2 open canisters and an empty area suggesting a receptacle. The team engineer speculates that this device takes 2 materials as inputs and outputs another. The size of the canisters reveal the quantity of the inputs, 30 units. Traces around their openings suggest that the device expects yttrium, gold, and or neutronium. I remember this, but I don't remember what we have to put into this. It is possible for you to get adamantine out of this, if I recall correctly. But you have to give it specific things. There's also, if I recall correctly, a certain number of uses that you're allowed to interact with it with. But I don't want to use it at the moment. We'll come back here later when we have a little more adamantine. Let's take the wormhole to one more system. We'll explore that system, and then we will call it a session. Yeah, so if you like the Epic Games Store, don't mind buying the games, viewer. That's fine. Please don't think that I am insulting you or being down on you. You do what you do. You buy the games you want to buy. You spend your money how you want to spend it. I don't do so because I don't like that. I don't like that store trying to purchase games in advance to stop other people. That's the wrong way to phrase it. It seems a bit predatory, and I don't, from my understanding of the Epic Games Store, there's a lot that it lacks compared to the other digital distribution options that you have on GOG or Steam, for example, or buying the game directly from the developer if they offer it for sale, like Cryptic Comet, for example, there. I don't like it. I don't think it's right, and I don't like the precedent it sets. What stops Steam from saying, if you want to just sell your game on our store, you're not allowed to sell it on any other? And removing it from the game and from your removing the game from their store if you do so, and removing it from your library as well. I would not like that at all. I think, though, Steam realizes that if they were ever to do something like that, that would be the end of Steam would suffer greatly, most likely. Hello, Uku Trader. We have Gorantu out here too, but we're no longer hostile with them. In cool waters we saw you again. Our story was at a turning. Things for things, things for knowledge. What did we do when we swam together? Things for things. I will always take their adamantine. And we will trade some neutronium for that. Oh, how much adamantine do I have? Oh, crap! We have 282 adamantine! I thought we had a lot less than that. We must have gotten a lot from that one derelict that was blowing up. Okay, then we can go back to Zor. Let's explore this sector first. Oh, hold on. Why are you red? There's a sentinel cutter here. Okay. The Gortanu might become hostile if we fight it. We'll see. It's currently sitting up all the way over there. The Gortanu apparently wants to investigate us. Something on this planet. I like the color of the nebula here. Well, that's a very interesting looking planet, given the nebula around it. Wouldn't you? I wonder. Wouldn't you see the nebula here from the planet's surface if you looked up? And we're not in the nebula here on Earth, so no. The answer is no. Well, then, like, it's dark outside. We don't see... I mean, you can see nebula depending on where you are, but not around us. But imagining if the planet was inside the nebula, I would imagine you would see it everywhere, wouldn't you? Another bog... I don't know. I should shut up, then. Another bog masquerading as a valuable resource deposit. Upon return to the ship, the team engineer spends hours tweaking the anomaly scanner while his teammates scrub tar from the lander. Oh, guys, I'm sorry. But we don't actually know what's down there until we send you down there. We're gonna have to fight this. Well, this will be our first battle in this episode, so let's send some drones out, and we can see the actual combat occur. Let's get a little closer. Alright, here we go. Let's do it. I hold on spacebar and watch all the drones. The drones won't do much to the lander. It's actually never mind. They'll do a good job on it. My piece of cake. We get some titanium for the effort. We will not destroy all of this, but I do want to see what's inside the rocks, unless it was the 12 titanium we just picked up. There might be nothing in these rocks, but there could be research. Gold is in these rocks. Okay. Let's explore these 3 planets. We'll destroy some of the asteroids on the way. Platinum's in this as well. Gold, platinum, and titanium. Nothing stops you, by the way, from farming all the rocks here. It occurs to me that if you wanted to play the game with smaller ships, you could probably get, like, instead of fighting most of the enemies, you could probably just avoid them and just harvest all of the resources you need from scrap that's floating around instead. Be kind of interesting to play the game that way. Maybe I'll try that after I'm done beating this game. And that's all the planets that are out here, everyone. Okay, so we'll stop here. I'll thank you guys for putting up with me and the things I talked about today. And I will talk with you in the next episode. If you guys hang around for that. Assuming you haven't been off-put by the topics here. So thank you guys for watching. And I will see you then. Take care, everyone.